Okay, so DMZ, I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is that I've played it, and in a couple games, three games, I felt confident enough to say it's not really for me, but I think it could be for a small group of people. The bad news is that it's pretty much none of you, except for maybe some, maybe like 5. The reason is DMZ as a whole is not what I thought it would be. It's probably not what a lot of us thought it would be, and that's our fault. It's us. It's our fault, okay? It's time we hold ourselves responsible and accountable for the mistakes that we make, okay? And we had expectations just because it was an extraction-based game mode that Tarkov was going to play a main role in how this game was made. First thing the dev comes out and says when we go in there is, just want to be clear. We do play a lot of Tarkov. Game's not Tarkov. We're not competing with Tarkov. It's not happening. It is an extraction-based game mode. Okay, and we're like, I'm like, well, why'd you invite Landmark then, huh? Like, why? Like, I mean, okay. And he's sitting there like, what the fuck? So we walk through the whole idea of DMZ, and the concept is cool. All right, and that's exciting. I'm excited to say the DMZ as a whole reminds me of how Blackout felt back with the first iteration of Call of Duty BR. You're sitting here going, yeah, that was actually a pretty good BR. Yeah, it was. I thought so. I liked the way that armor worked in that better than almost any armor iteration in any Call of Duty Warzone or Blackout or whatever. Yeah, it was the best. It was great. And so for that reason, I'm sitting here going, all right, I see the idea. I see the concept. How it's not there though. It's not. Who is this for? I don't know. The game mode plays not like Warzone, but like Warzone enough that it's confusing. See, it's kind of like, I wanted it to be Tarkov, but they kind of make it like Lego form, PG it, you know? It's kind of like Counter-Strike, Valorant, okay, Tarkov, Call of Duty, you know? Like, whatever, you get what I'm saying. They didn't do that, and that sucks, but that's fine. So how does it play? It is a casual, first and foremost, play your own adventure roguelite. It is not a BR. It doesn't fucking matter if you see a person, doesn't matter if you shoot at people, doesn't matter if you kill anyone. You could be a pacifist, you can do whatever you want to do, but it is a roguelite in that every single time you go in, the whole point of the game is to get better gear out so you can go back in and have an easier time getting better gear to bring it out so that you can have you get the gameplay loop. The problem is, what the fuck is the point? That's what I found myself saying halfway through the first game. What is the point? In games like Tarkov, in games that, in roguelites, the whole point is that you are going into a meat grinder, and every time you're getting just a little bit further. Hades, okay? A little bit further. And then you're like, oh, right, here's how, and the whole point is progression through grinding. Call of Duty ain't doing that. Man, the whole thing to us to me specifically, I was playing with Symphony and Bread, to us, it seemed like a good way for you and your friends to casually play when you're drunk, and you're just like, yeah, you and the boys want to go and just like do some casual, just whatever the fucks, but not maybe run into some sweaty people. The gameplay loop, the idea is to accrue money and do these missions, accomplish these missions, and through that you are rewarded with money to buy more stuff and basically equip yourself better for the next round. And it's a little bit, I'd say it's more like The Division than anything. It's not like Tarkov. The whole point, I guess, that you or I would play it for is that you can get specific, unique weapon blueprints that you can take out of there that are only available in that game mode. They appear high-value targets on the map, and you and your team, you go in there, you grab this briefcase, and you got to extract with it. But then if you leave with it, you get this blueprint that you can't get anywhere else. And they said it's guns and stuff that don't exist outside of that. So I don't really know. I mean, that's a really cool concept, but we didn't get to experience that because I never got my hands on this briefcase. So the AI, what's the point of playing this? They said the AI was not like the Insurgency AI, and they were wrong. It is, but it's not as bad. It's still bad, but it's tolerably bad. And the reason I say this is because Symphony died to these AI several times. I'm sorry, Mason. All right, I'm just calling you out because I also died to them, and I just need people to have perspective. Because if I say I die to these things, people are like expected. It's not that they're hard to kill. It's that they come as bullet sponges, and you only have a mag or so. Like the extended mag attachments aren't necessarily as crazy this iteration, right? 45 rounds, 40 rounds is kind of max here for a lot of these ARs. And you're only able to take down 1, maybe 2 per, but there's like 8 armored opponents. And so they can overwhelm you, and then you're like getting shot 4 or 5 times and you're dead. You're down. And so that's how we died a couple times. And for that, I applaud you. Like, they should be easy to deal with if you're taking your time, but hard to deal with if you rush in. We rushed in a couple times, paid the price. But the whole concept of getting in and looting items and stuff was kind of soulless. Your whole point is like, oh, look at these valuables. You can loot PCs. You can loot jackets. You can loot TVs. There's like $10 sign next to the picture. There's a $250 sign next to this Intel. You can get the, oh shit, you got a rare wine. It's $2,500. You sell these at a buy point for cash, and you can use the cash in-game to buy your weapon, your loadout, whatever your contraband item is, and then you can use that to do whatever the fuck you want. You can insure your items, and then you can bring that into the game. So if you die, you lose everything but those things. It really is a familiar scenario to anybody that's played Tarkov, while ultimately being a little bit confused at what it wants to be. I'm worried that this has taken itself a little too complicated in some ways and a little too less serious in others. And a good example of this is that Call of Duty has a kind of complex weapon unlock system right now that people are complaining about. To me, it makes sense. To a lot of people that play Tarkov, you're like, that's not even complicated. It's not the point. It is complicated to a lot of people. And so they introduced this kind of like gameplay loop where you're wondering like, okay, now I have to worry about like which gun is insured and what do I have in the stash, and is the stash big? Like, I don't think I got enough time to experience the out of gameplay side of the game, but to say that it is largely negligible is what I mean. Like in Tarkov, you spend 40 minutes prepping for raid. Like half the raid is the prep of the raid. I don't know about the Division. I haven't played that much, but it still seems like the enemies and stuff interact in the dark zone, black zone, whatever it's called, similarly. But that's not the case in Call of Duty. It's all about, you know, so like it's really just get in there, edit loadout. You choose 5 things. You choose a grenade. You choose your stim, whatever the fuck. You're back in, and that's why I'm like, what is the point of this? Like, you should just play Warzone if you want to get in and play games without the fear of losing gear. But there's not really a fear of losing gear because it was really easy for us to replace a lot of this stuff. And every enemy had guns, and there are ways. I don't know. It's just tough for me to see what kind of player would choose to play this outside of Warzone players that are tired of going crazy and hard at Warzone, and camo grinders and people that want the items and the stuff that are available exclusively in the DMZ game mode. That's probably the limit of the player base. Don't even get me started on third-person BR. We're not even talking about that shit. There ain't gonna be nobody playing it. I don't care how many people said it was cool. It's not, okay? I'm sure some people will actually play it, though. But let's talk about the AI, or I'm sorry, let's talk about like some of the cooler stuff in there. Look, you can revive your teammates at any point. Means if your friends get swooped in on and targeted, and they get sniped down and you're just hiding and you escape, cool. Revive them 20 minutes later, it doesn't matter. The games can last up to like 40 minutes because it's a little pocket of radiation that expands. It's not the gas that comes in, radiation gets bigger. And it's not that damaging. So you can end up fighting certain raid bosses, I guess we'll call them, that spawn in during certain areas. So like you go to a stronghold, you kill some guards, you find a key to the stronghold, you unlock the stronghold. These are marked on the map, by the way. Whoa, look at all the good shit in here. But wait, there's a juggernaut with a minigun. Work together, kill the juggernaut, you know, bada bing, bada boom, you get a bunch of stuff, a big reward. But it wasn't really hard. And I don't know what the, like, I was bored of clearing the houses of AI because it wasn't necessarily like the ever looming fear of getting killed. All right. And when we did find people, our reaction was finally some fucking people to fight. Cause like, honestly, I don't know. That's what I felt. And it's one of those things where I'm looking at something that I think is a good blueprint, something that can be worked on. Things that I really enjoyed the idea that I haven't even mentioned 9 minutes into the video because I'm fucking awful is the mission part is actually kind of ingenious in that they took the tasking from Tarkov that I hate to do. All right. And they made it a little bit more freeform and a little bit more fun. Right? Hey, you have an escort mission to do? Cool, go do that. There's several, go to this armored truck. You got to go drive this truck, pick up this package, take that package to a different area. While you're doing that, you're at risk of getting shot at by AI, by players, and they'll spawn in a world chopper to come attack you. Hope your team has something to deal with it because you're going to be chased down by it. So that kind of thing, that scalable event where you yourself and your team are actually interacting with something in this world, and that's yours, but everybody else can also jump in, that's cool. Conceptually, dope. It's the kind of shit that Battlefield always said, like only in Battlefield. So many times now I've been sitting here playing Warzone or DMZ and being like, well, that's an only in Battlefield moment in Call of Duty, but better than Battlefield has been doing it. So, I mean, I gotta say hats off to them for at least the idea, and I love trying new stuff. By the way, it's free. I have not done an information video in so long, I don't even give you the information in the right order. It's free at launch with Warzone, and I think it's worth a try, but I may be wrong. I sincerely don't see, it's not for the grinders. There's no progression that's gonna make you, like, in Tarkov, you grind to be able to afford, like, it's like real life. I'm working minimum wage over here so I can get a fucking AK that shoots not, like, pellet gun bullets. And then, meanwhile, in Call of Duty, it's like, if you play 3 games and you get out, full kit, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, it's fine. Or just go ahead and kill a bunch of people because all the guns still work pretty damn well comparably. They all shoot the same gun, like bullets. You know, the difference between a 9mm PP-19 in Tarkov and a fucking 5.56, BP round is huge. And that's not even the biggest gap. We're not talking Iggy ammo. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. They're not competing with Tarkov, although I kind of wish they were. I need them to figure out the identity of DMZ a little bit better because it sounds like they want to make it a fun party game kind of thing where it's like, whoa, whatever crazy thing that my group run into at this time. That's cool. They're looking at creating experiences inside one game, and that's the interesting part. Also, I forgot to mention, if you die or you're playing with random people and you die and they don't res you and a random team comes along, they can res you, you're part of their group now. That's cool. Oh, also, there is party searching in Warzone where you can search for a third member and do tags like competitive and English speaking and voice chat. That's pretty cool. Didn't see anybody talk about that much, but anyways, if you guys like this video, I'll be happy to make a video about Warzone as well. Just wanted to throw this one out here because I appreciated the event and getting invited as well as somebody who's looking for another game to kind of fill that void. I don't think DMZ is it for me, but I hope that it could be at some point because I see the vision. It's just not there right now. But that's my honest opinion, and hopefully you guys enjoyed.